Hello, Pewter people. Scott Reynolds here with another Pewter Pulse. The first week of Bucs training camp practice is over with, and there were several Bucs players who really stood out. I'll split up the offense and defensive standouts into two Pewter Pulse videos. Today's is going to be on the defensive players who shined in the Bucs' first four practices before the pads came on. And I'll get to that in just a second. But first, your reminder, hit the thumbs up button on this video, give it a like. Also, leave a comment. I love reading your comments. When you do those two things, well, you know what happens. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm, gets our videos out in front of more awesome Bucs fans like you. Also, be sure to head over to Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. We're just a couple hundred subscribers away from hitting 20,000. Okay, the Bucs defense had a great first week in training camp and probably won the week, which isn't a surprise, given how the pads aren't on yet. And hey, Todd Bowles' defense really needs to improve, doesn't it? Let's talk about the defensive standouts so far in practice. Now, we know Antoine Winfield Jr. made a big splash in training camp with two highlight reel interceptions on the first day, but Bucs sources tell me they love Tyke Smith's consistency throughout camp. Smith has made a couple big plays in practice every day in his transition from nickelback to strong safety, replacing Jordan Whitehead. Remember, Smith was tied for the team lead with 2 interceptions and 3 forced fumbles as a rookie, and he didn't even play a full season. Now Smith will be on the field as much as Winfield, and those two safeties are both playmakers. I think Smith is going to absolutely be a star in this league and challenge his teammate Winfield for some Pro Bowls at the safety position in the near future. He's just so smart, so instinctive, and so physical. Now, speaking of Nickelback, one of the guys that are trying to replace Tyke Smith in that role is undrafted free agent J.J. Roberts. He's in the thick of this Nickelback job with Jacob Parrish, the team's third-round pick. Roberts is an undrafted free agent out of Marshall, and I profiled him as the team's super sleeper on defense heading into training camp in a Pewter Pulse video I did this summer. So far, Roberts is making me look good and is putting pressure on Parrish at the same time for that Nickelback job. Although Parrish did have his first interception of camp on Sunday against Kyle Trask, this is going to be a really fun, interesting training camp battle to watch. And I can't wait to see these guys when the pads come on and in the preseason games. The other guy that I'm interested to see when the pads come on is outside linebacker Chris Braswell. It's not really fair to list defensive tackles and outside linebackers as standouts when the pads don't come on until Monday. That's really when we can evaluate the trench play. But what is noticeable about Braswell is that he's playing much faster this summer. No more hesitation. He understands where to go and how to get there. And he's got his foot on the gas right now. And he's really going. Hats off to new outside linebackers coach Larry Foote for getting Braswell's motor humming, as I expected he would. Foote is an absolute gem of a pass rush coach. I really can't wait to evaluate Braswell next week when the pads come on. Hey, if I'm going to mention Braswell, an outside linebacker, well, I got to mention Yaya Diaby, who looks like he's on the verge of a breakout season. Diaby is playing fast and physical, and he's determined to get to the quarterback and pile up some sacks this year after really increasing his number of pressures last year. He finished in the top 10 among all defensive players in pressures in his second season. Diaby's been giving new left tackle Charlie Heck, who's filling in for Tristan Wirfs. He's been giving him fits, to be honest, and he had back-to-back sacks against Heck on Thursday. But I've got to say that Heck is at a disadvantage not being in pads. So this matchup will really be spotlighted starting on Monday when the pads come on and we can see these guys really get physical and go mano a mano. Here's what I like about Diaby is he's just becoming such a well-rounded player. He's even making some plays in coverage, and he forced 2 incompletions in practice this week. Now, nobody really wants to see Yaya Diaby in coverage, right? I mean, he's much better rushing the passer, and he dropped into coverage way too much last year. I chronicled that in a season-ending SR's Fab 5 column. But at least he's a lot more effective doing that in camp this year. And again, with Larry Foote's tutelage, I really expect Yaya Diaby to take off and play extremely well opposite Hassan Reddick, and not just get some of his own sacks one-on-one, but really get some cleanup sacks too. I think a double-digit sack season is in store for Diaby. The final defensive standout I'm going to feature is a cornerback, but it's veteran cornerback Bryce Hall, who made it back from a broken leg and an ankle injury in week 1 that sidelined him for the entire 2024 campaign, to be ready for the offseason, where he participated in the OTAs, the mandatory minicamp, and of course in training camp. And Hall has been very aggressive and impressive so far. He had an interception in the first week and had another pick knocked out of his hands by wide receiver Dennis Houston. I've been so impressed with Hall's instincts and not giving up any cushion this year. He's been sticky in coverage so far and is determined to make this team, despite the fact that the Bucs drafted 2 cornerbacks in Benjamin Morrison and Jacob Parrish on day 3. Those 2 guys are going to make the team, but I have a strong feeling that Bryce Hall is going to make it as well. As we had hoped to see, the Bucs defensive backs are really playing a lot more tight coverage in practice at the start of training camp. And the practices have been very competitive against the wide receivers, just as Todd Bowles wanted to see from his defenders. If I'm going to throw another couple of names at you for honorable mention guys on defense, I'll mention cornerback Zion McCollum and rookie outside linebacker David Walker. McCollum and Mike Evans have been absolutely battling in practice so far. We're witnessing some Galveston on Galveston crime here, folks. But iron sharpens iron, and I love how these guys really go against each other. McCollum wins some, Mike Evans wins some, and they're really getting ready for week 1. Before he suffered a lower body injury in the last couple of minutes of Friday's practice, Walker, who is the subject of our Bucs rookie training camp diary on pewterreport.com, was really off to a good start in camp. Bowles even had David Walker running with the first team defense in the 2-minute drill opposite Yaya Diaby. I'm sure it was to maybe give Hassan Reddick, a little bit of a breather, but also to see what Walker could do in that pass rush situation, because let's face it, the guy put up a crazy amount of sacks at the FCS level. Hopefully Walker gets well soon and it's not too serious. I also want to see Servassier Dennis really come on and get on this list next week. He's overdue to make some splash plays in practice, and hope to see more from Servassier in that category next week. We'd also love to see you over at Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel, where you can check out more Pewter Pulse episodes and the Pewter Report podcast, which comes on 4 times a week in the off-season training camp and during the regular season. So make sure you subscribe to Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel, as we're on our way to 20,000 subscribers. You can help us get there. Hit the subscribe button. Also, follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram for all your training camp and preseason coverage. Our handle is @PewterReport, and make sure that you visit pewterreport.com for the Bucs Monday mailbag, my SR's Fab 5 column, Bucs Training Camp Insiders daily, as well as some great feature content on your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'll be back soon with a new Pewter Pulse.